Welcome back to Read This Next with Laura and Nicole from the Thunder Bay Public Library. This week we're continuing our streak of on-the-screen recommendations, and we're talking fantasy.
Yes, we are. Lots of fantasy. And like we've been doing, and Nicole said, we're doing things that are on the screen, so either movies or TV shows. And we've tried to go through, and we'll indicate to let you know, but most of these are all going to be available through the public library. So you'll be able to place your holds and then enjoy at home.
Yeah, of course. It's unlike us to recommend things that you can't get at the library.
It does happen occasionally, though, because there is one that we are. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
There.
Okay, the first one we're doing is a classic. Laura, you've seen these, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. We are talking about Lord of the Rings. And of course, we have the DVDs. We also have the books if you want to read them, which are very good as well. But for those of you that don't know, I'll give you a description. Set in the fictional world of Middle-earth, the films follow Hobbit Frodo Baggins as he and the Fellowship embark on a quest to destroy the One Ring to ensure the destruction of its maker, the Dark Lord Sauron. The Fellowship eventually splits up, and Frodo continues his quest with his loyal companion Sam and with the treacherous Gollum. So basically, you get to follow these lovely little hobbits that are mischievous and cute and always hungry, and they meet up with these other, what is it, like 3 other guys, 5 other guys, and they go on there.
There's a bunch of them. 6?
9 total, I think.
9 total.
Yeah, and then there's wizards, there's horses, there's tons of cool facts, there's 12 hours of content.
Yes, there's very attractive people, of limited variety, admittedly, but some attractive people like riding horses and sword fighting, if that's something you're interested in watching. That's available in this series.
Yeah, very, very good. I know this was the first series of movies that my partner and I watched together when we first started dating. And I 12 hours of just like staring at a screen and being like, how have I never watched this? If you haven't seen Lord of the Rings yet, give it a shot. Watch the 4-hour editions. They're just as good.
Just as good.
Better. Yeah. They do take out significant things from the books, but like...
Yes. I mean,
it's good.
Have you read the books?
Yes. The only thing that I was like kind of sad that they took out was Tom Bombadil, because I was just like, who is this guy? Why did he enter the story? What about you?
No, I have not read the books. This is just more part and parcel of my not being a big fantasy person.
That's fair.
When the Lord of the Rings movies came out, I was drawn in, as so many were, of my age and background, by Orlando Bloom.
Oh, yeah.
Glorious white blonde locks. I will say, he has, considering how old that movie is, you'd think things would have come along in terms of costuming, because his blonde wig is so much better than the wig that they put poor Henry Cavill in The Witcher TV show that is current.
Yes.
Like, we've seen a nice blonde wig on a fantasy dude. It can be done.
But they're like, no, he's dirty. Witcher is dirty, and therefore his wig is dirty.
Okay. All right, so maybe that makes a little bit of sense. Like, the elf obviously has time for like hair care products.
Coiffed. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
He's been around a while.
Yeah, he knows how to do his hair. So I was brought in by the elf, but I stayed for the whole thing. Delightful. I own those movies.
Oh yeah, they're good. I will say my favorite part is well, God, there's so many good parts in that movie. What was I gonna say though? Did you know, everybody has a fun fact about Lord of the Rings if they've seen it? Did you know that they didn't have enough male writers to like film the big scenes with the Riders of Rohan?
Okay.
So they hired women to play these men. Ow. My dog's biting my foot. One sec. Okay, there you go. I just gave him my socks. Anyways, they had to use women to play these men that were riding into battle. So they had all these like the women are all like beefed up with outfits and stuff. It's really cool. So whenever you're seeing the men on the horses, you just go, those are ladies. And they know how to ride
Bulked
horses
up.
very well.
Oh yes. There's lots of impressive stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. The Hobbit movies not really recommended, I would say.
I didn't read them. I mean, I didn't read them or see them.
Sorry if you can hear a siren in the background here. Something's going on. Okay,
That's city life.
That's city life. That's the bright lights of Thunder Bay City Life. Definitely.
Wow.
Okay. Lord of the Rings. Anything else to say about them?
Nope. It is, but I guess the last thing, if you're looking it up, it's J.R. Tolkien in the book version.
Yes. Okay, so our next one, we're sort of we're re-hyping something, re-wrecking something that we have already wrecked, but we're just going for it because it's new and good. So this is I'm talking about the Shadow and Bone TV show, newly on Netflix. So this is the one that you cannot actually borrow the show to watch from the library. But having said that, you can take out all of the books.
Yay.
So, yay. And the books are great. So the story, it is a YA series, and it's based on Tsarist, the Russian Empire, set in a war-torn world. There's magic. There's a cute pup in the video. So cute. So there's magic. There's lots of different. So it's a war-torn world plagued by the Shadowfold, which is like this path of permanent darkness that separates the country. And our main character, or one of our main characters, orphan mapmaker Alina Starkov, discovers she is a Grisha, which is like someone, basically it's a magician. I guess that sounds pretty undignified. It's a wizard, a witch. I don't know. It's a magic person. And she has the power to create light, which could be the key to setting her country free from the Shadowfold. But yeah, and then it goes from there, which is a piece of the Shadow and Bone book. But then when they did this adaptation, the director or the showrunner was like, I like Shadow and Bone, but if I'm going to adapt this, then you need to get the rights to her other series that's set in the same universe, basically. And Netflix was like, okay, we've got lots of money, so they threw that at him. So her other series that's set in the same world is called, it starts with Six of Crows. And what they've done is taken the characters from this later duology and like woven it into the Shadow and Bone story. And that's lots of fun because the Shadow and Bone story, it is in some ways kind of a typical chosen one narrative. So it can kind of seem a little familiar because you kind of can anticipate where the beats are going. But then these other characters, this whole other storyline is very different, very like it's really original, and it's a lot that sort of like more marginalized characters. So instead of like she's becoming part of the like elite wizard army, and then this other series is about like, you know, someone who's like an indentured servant in an indentured worker, a slave in a brothel, and someone who runs like a disreputable gambling inn, and someone who like different, like the sort of people on the outskirts, the fringes, yes, and they are delightful, and they are doing like heists. That's their thing. So the story has following both of these different groups of people, and then you see them intersect. It's really delightful. Yeah, lots of different things going on. And if you like the idea of the story, you can watch it, and then you can read the books, both different ones. So there's one that's a little bit more of a traditional chosen one, and then there's this other fun like heist, much more diverse characters in that one. There's like one of the main characters is, I think one of the main characters is bisexual. There's a character who has there's a character who has a cane, and he has the cane in the the movie as well. And I didn't realize until I was looking some stuff up, but that's actually, it's based on the author's own experience where she used a cane for a couple of years because of a health issue.
Wow.
And so, yeah. And so she wanted to give that kind of experience to a character where like very often that sort of thing will be used as sort of a shortcut for like evil villainy. Like if you like, it's ominous to see like a cane coming into the dark, right? So like this character who is sort of he can be a bit of an anti-hero, and you are kind of like, what's going on? Is he maybe a little bad? But he's a very well-rounded, like whole person as well. Just interesting, like because we talk a lot about own voices, like thinking about different cultural backgrounds and like sexual orientations and identities. And then this is one where, you know, it's also important to have own voices about other kinds of marginalized voices. And in this case, someone who has a physical handicap. So that's kind of a nice thing to note if you want to increase the diversity of your reading, which is always a good thing to do.
Yeah, that sounds.
I've run down.
Sounds really good.
That was.
No, that was perfect because I had nothing to add because I haven't. I have Shadow and Bone sitting over there. It was in my. Nicole's gonna go buy a whole bunch of enemies to lovers books phase that I had last year, and I've only heard good things about the Six of Crows. Like that is like the top book recommend on BookTube, Book Talk, Bookgram, whatever. They're all like Six of Crows. Whoa! So if you like that, if you're that person and you like fantasy, apparently Six of Crows and Shadow of Bone are really good. So okay, next one we have an oldie but a goldie, in my opinion. Once Upon a Time, which I know Laura has not seen. I think I've only seen the first. I don't even know how many seasons it has, but I only watched like the first like 3 or 4 seasons, so I can't tell you its quality after that. But when it first started, Once Upon a Time is basically this blonde lady named Emma wakes up and she's all of a sudden in this like real world version of fairy tales where all of like the fairy tale characters don't really realize that they're fairy tale characters. And she also has a son who I'm not. This is tough because I don't remember exactly everything about it, but she has a son. There's a classic evil witch, and she's kind of like the mean lady of the town. And Emma lives with essentially Snow White and Prince Charming, but they don't know it yet. Or is this a spoiler? I don't know. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's old. It's old. Get hyped about it. But yeah, so Henry discovers, her son is named Henry, and he discovers that all the characters are fairy tale people, and his mom is kind of like no way, like that's ridiculous, that's silly, you know, classic doesn't believe her kid. Sure. It's very good. It has a lot of like sweet romantic moments, but it also has, I don't know, there's something about having like fairy tales in the real world that I'll always be like, oh, love that. Like Little Red Riding Hood is just like works at a diner and she's cool. Like she rides a motorcycle. Like of course she does. Yes. But yeah, it's really good. There's a lot of twisty bits. There's a lot of good actors in it that you've probably recognized from other things. And there was a spin-off of Alice in Wonderland, but I don't remember what it was called. Did you see that one?
No. I don't have cable anymore.
Oh, okay. I don't either.
So I don't.
No judgment from me, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you can watch this not on cable as well at this point. We have it at the library, but anyways, So if you want to read these titles, you just gotta search Hans Christian Andersen or the Grimm brothers. But yeah, it was a really good show. It was fun to watch, and I also just enjoyed trying to figure out when the new characters came up who they were in like the story. And and it has like, I don't know, I keep remembering new things. It has like Rumpelstiltskin. He's like good bad guy, you know. It's good stuff. I would check it out just because it's fun.
There's also, I don't think many. We might just have one of each. But there is also a graphic novel and a novel based on this series that we have in the collection.
There you go.
True facts.
True facts. I
True
love
facts.
it. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. I would check it out. I mean, fairy tales on their own, amazing. Fairy tales being put into the real world, even better. It's good stuff.
Okay. All right. Next one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once again, oldie goldie classic. These are all ones, I guess, too, that could be like watched with family. I mean, probably kids wouldn't be very interested in Once Upon a Time, but like tween-ish, right?
You
They'd probably
could.
be into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is The Princess Bride. Delightful. Love it. Everyone, I mean, you've probably watched it, maybe not for a while. Let us remind you of how amazing it is. What a delightful romance and heartwarming story. It has this really sweet kind of setting device where it starts out where it's an older gentleman reading it to his grandson who's sick in bed, and then the story that he's telling, that he's reading aloud, is the story that we're watching in the movie. Really great actors, really funny people in it. It's a good time. And what you might not have known is that it is actually based on a book, and the book is similarly very funny, and there's lots of jokes in the book that aren't in the movie just because they're like things that wouldn't really work. But it's very, very, very funny as well. I have read it too. I have read that one. And then we also, so you can take the book out from the library in addition to the DVD, and then you can also take out the CD book. And we also have a book written by the Cary Elwes.
I think so.
He played Wesley in the movie, and he did a memoir like specifically about that time in his life a couple years ago. And it's just like stories about the filming, and some really nice stories about Andre the Giant, which of course he played the role of Fezzik. So if you want to know more about that very cool guy, then there's never before told stories, exclusive photographs, and interviews with other characters. And yeah, just a look behind the curtain at the creation of the film. So if you're a big fan, then you should definitely check that book out, and you can take it out from the library.
I should check that one out. That's honestly one of the most quotable movies of all time. Anytime someone's like, oh, they're getting married, I'm like, we are gathered here today to celebrate marriage.
It's just, if for some strange reason you haven't seen it before,
what are you doing?
Now is the time. Yes, consider this your
shove. Go watch it now.
Go watch The Princess Bride. Yeah, I think some people will probably love it more than others, but no one's gonna dislike The Princess Bride.
Oh yeah, it's silly. It's got princesses. It's got sword fights. It's got a guy.
Some kissing. A little bit of kissing.
A little bit of kissing. It's got some magic. What else has it got? It's got just like so many hilarious moments where like a guy is trying to poison Wesley, and he's like switched the poison, and then he's like, just as an example, he's like, well, I'm not going to drink that drink because you think that I think that the poison is in this drink, so I'm going to drink this one. And he goes, yes, but you knew that I would think that you thought that this drink was filled with that drink. And it just like goes on for like probably 3 minutes where they're just saying that back and forth. And you're like, what is this? It's great. It's so good. And like, like the relationships between the characters are very sweet as well, and like it's just a sweet, what could have been in our heartwarming movie. I mean, what we call it, warm hugs episode.
Warm hugs episode, definitely.
It's just good.
It is.
I think I watched it somewhere in the parks, and it was like, this is how it should be watched. Crowd of people chilling.
Yeah, I watched it with a bunch of teens at a teen program some years ago now, and we had a great time.
That sounds like a perfect movie. We should do that again.
And another reason to watch, if you never have, so many like quotes and things you've heard in pop culture will suddenly make more sense.
Yeah, my name is
Because that is
Inigo
a thing.
Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
This is a thing that happened to me when I watched the Star Wars, like the original Star Wars movies for the first time. I was pretty old, and I was like, "Oh, that's from that. That's what that is." There,
It's a trap.
okay. It's
Yeah.
a reference that I didn't like. I knew it was something because you hear it all the time, but I didn't actually know what it was from.
I think
What we're saying is,
watch it.
what we're saying is, if you have gaps in your viewing, history and movies people talk about, and you're like, I never got around to that. Well, check and see if they're available, and then you can watch them from the library.
And send us an email. We'll rec more that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
We've got one more or two more left. We're going to briefly mention that we did talk about The Witcher before, which is another fabulous book movie combo, and we'll just rehype that one. I think we talked about it in the same episode we did Shadow and Bone, actually. Yeah, we really like The Witcher. We've talked about his wig a lot. Go check it out. But
we have talked about his wig a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, it's like we'll talk about Game of Thrones, and then we'll bring it back to The Witcher's wig, and then we'll talk about this movie, we'll bring it back to The Witcher's wig.
If we're being honest, I think it's me that brings it back to the Witcher's wig every time.
I'm still angry about it as well. I look at it and I go, why? Like, they put in how much money to cover up his mustache in those Superman movies, and they couldn't. Whatever.
Yeah. Hopefully, season 2, they'll do better.
Yeah, maybe he'll just grow his hair out. And he'll just have long blonde hair.
That would take a long time. But he might do it. He's pretty devoted.
He is.
He is. He's a big nerd. He likes this stuff.
Very nerdy. Love that man. All right. I will give you my recommendation. How are we doing for time? I think we're okay.
I think we're good. I think we started at 1:45.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to a classic Nicole move and recommend you a kids movie. Amazing. So I think before in a previous episode we briefly talked about Guillermo del Toro. No, we talked about who did Babe. Is that Guillermo?
No, we talked about
George Miller. My brain gets them mixed up. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Guillermo del Toro for a second. Y'all may know him from Pan's Labyrinth. Cannot think of anything else he directed now that I'm talking about him.
Hellboy.
Yeah, Hellboy. And the one where she falls in love with a fish monster.
Shape of Water.
That's the one. You may know him from such classics as those ones we previously mentioned. I know him from Pan's Labyrinth and the Tales of Arcadia series on Netflix, which we also have at the library. So
very good.
This is really cool to me because the Tales of Arcadia is 3 series that are... So there's 3 seasons of each series that are all one big world and like wrap up a story together.
Okay.
So
nice.
The first one is called Troll Hunters. And we have a book based on that too, I'm pretty sure. And
it sounds familiar.
It's really good. So it follows... Can't remember the main character's name. Wow. I'm so bad at describing these things. Anyways, we follow the main character, and in the first episode, he finds this cool little amulet in the ground, and he picks it up, and he finds out that he's become the new troll hunter. He's got like the heart of gold or whatever, and he's supposed to be the one that will protect the trolls that live under Arcadia. And he all the trolls are like, you're a human, you're not a troll, so why are you protecting us? And it's voiced by I almost said Anton Chekhov, but I'm pretty sure his name is
Yelnik.
Yeah, I was naming his Star Trek character.
His Star Trek character.
Yeah, he played for the first 2 seasons, 2.5 I think. He plays the main character, and then they changed it. And I will say his acting in the first 2, incredible. The voice changed through me and was not the same afterwards. But for those of you that don't know, he passed away mid-filming very tragically. But Yeah, so it follows this troll hunter as he becomes like one with the trolls and like learns a lot about things, and he has to navigate like being in elementary school or high school, probably middle school, and also being a troll hunter. Then the
Sure.
next series, you follow aliens as they come to Earth, and then they like meet up with the troll hunter, but it kind of works. They're kind of moving at the same time, but they're also going ahead of whatever the previous series was. So it
Sure.
kind of overlaps. And I don't remember, I don't think the third one has come out yet. I think that's right. But anyways, so something to look forward to. But this is a really good series. It has a really good plot. The graphics are like kind of cheesy, but really good. And like it's Guillermo del Toro. He does not make bad stuff. Hello. Yeah, so I am recommending the Tales of Arcadia show, all of them. It's Wizards. That's what the last one is. It's Wizards. There was one season that came
Aliens,
out.
Wizards.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And of course, I cried during everything I watch, and it was really good. I love it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's got something for everybody because all 3 seasons follow different characters, so it's nice. Yeah. Have you heard of that one? Have you watched it?
I've heard of Troll Hunters, and I remember when the book came in, but I have not watched it.
Yeah. It's a kid's show.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So is lots of other good things.
Yeah, everything I rec is good. They're all kids shows. But yeah, so that's my final recommendation for the episode. Unless you have another one you'd like to add, surprise me. Aw, rats.
No surprise, sorry.
We've never surprised each other before. It would have been the ultimate surprise. All right, so I will just wrap it up then. So we will see you guys all next week. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribing. Please like, comment, all that fun stuff. We'd love to hear from you. And please leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you are using. We have no one to shout out this week, so maybe next week. But unless you have one.
No, I don't. No more. No, I still don't have any exciting surprises for you. I'm sorry. I was just going to say that this concludes our little on the screen mini series. We'll be back to the books next week. So join us then.
And we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.